Greetings everyone, this is Ainsley, also known as the Raikaze here, Master Kaze online in the battles, and here on this channel we go by Raikaze. So, just wanted to go ahead and do a little bit of a different setup here and also do something I didn't do in the previous tournament that we actually had in the past. I wanted to go ahead and do a quick video, let you guys know how we did in that Weakness Cup tournament. As you can see here, there was 29,135 participants, and if we go to our ranking here, where we at? Oh, there we are. We were ranking number 190. So excellent ranking to actually have, and going up against over 29,000 individuals. When I had ran the calculations, I was 0.006 roughly percent, so therefore we did really well in this tournament. So definitely had a good run in terms of that. Now we're about to go into the next tournament and have a bit of mixed feelings here, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at what this tournament is. Alright, so this tournament is going to be the 2017 No Holds Barred minus a few bars, because this tournament itself, it brings all of your Pokemon up to level 100. You also can battle with the entire Pokedex, and you can also use duplicate Pokemon and duplicate items. However, there will be the exception of some legendary Pokemon and Arceus. So Arceus, if you don't know, is also known as a mythical Pokemon, not necessarily a legendary Pokemon. Now if you go to Serebii, it actually gives a list of the Pokemon that are not going to be allowed, and that would be like Zekrom, Reshiram, Kyurem, so of course Black Kyurem, White Kyurem's out, Mewtwo, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Giratina, Dialga, Palkia, those type, Xerneas, Yveltal, those type of Pokemon. But I'm kind of in a bit of a mix here with that information, because if we go through the entire Pokemon Global Link, it gives us no information on what those actual Pokemon are going to be allowed and which ones are not. But of course, I'm going to start building a team based on that information, and then I'm going to then update it as time goes on, because of course, about the same week or of registration, we're going to actually get the official rule set of which Pokemon are going to be allowed and the finalized rule set. Having that information will let us know how we need to restructure our team if need be. So if you all are thinking about taking part in this tournament, if you do participate in at least one match, you do get 50 battle points. So that is a great deal of amount of points to actually get, instead of having to worry about grinding through the battle tree. But now, of course, you can get more battle points through the battle tree a lot sooner than waiting, through towards the end of this month. But I mean, hey, it's a fun tournament. You can actually, get those 50 battle points there. Now, one Pokemon that I know everyone's probably worried about facing here is going to be Darkrai. Darkrai is the high speed, put you to sleep and wreck you Pokemon. That is going to be the Pokemon we are pretty much going to be worried about here. But there are different things to actually counter the Darkrai. Now, not only has the Dark Void been nerfed down to 50%, Darkrai itself is super frail. So if you can actually get some damage onto the Darkrai and either have the Chesto Berry on the Pokemon, or have the Insomnia ability or Vital Spirit, depending on which Pokemon it is, or even Tapu Koko's Electric Terrain and Pokemon on the ground, of course, you can easily overcome the Darkrai. So I don't really think Darkrai is necessarily going to be that dangerous. Just make sure you all are actually taking note of that before you actually hop into this tournament. Now, what I would strongly recommend, I do have this link pulled up here, is on the, if you just go to Google if need be and just type in Pokemon Team Planner, you'll see a link there. It'll say like Richie 3F. That should be one of the first links that you want to go to. When you go to this page, you can start building your team. What I would highly recommend is first make sure, just in case if you're not aware, scroll down to the bottom, make sure you hit National. When you hit National, this allows you to update the entire listing of Pokemon that you can choose from to pretty much the entire dex. So I would definitely recommend using this so you can actually gauge to see what weaknesses you're going to be what kind of weaknesses you're going to be facing up against. That way you can build a team to try to overcome those weaknesses themselves. So what I'm gonna do here is give a little bit of a breakdown of a few Pokemon that I'm already thinking about having in this tournament. Now, it's not going to be all of them because I'm still coming up with a few, but I'm coming up with actually multiple teams. So maybe we can actually have some future battles so we can run some tests on those teams. I think that'll be a really good thing for us to do if we want to really go ahead and participate into this tournament here. And also, actually, what I want to hear is after we go through all this here, please leave a comment below. Let me know what teams that you all are thinking about bringing, or maybe if you want to do like maybe a theme team, because this is kind of like a fun tournament. There's not really any Mega Stone prizes, no super prizes for this tournament or anything like that. This is just one of the tournaments that we're just saying, hey, let's go and have an all-out brawl. Most of my Pokemon are already on level 100. I already grinded through, and this was even way before I even found out about the whole rare kitchen option. So a lot of my hours were wasted not actually going through that before, but it is what it is. But now that I know about the rare kitchen option, I can actually get a Pokemon to level 100 between a day to two, if need be. Now, let's go ahead and look at a couple of the Pokemon here that I'm thinking about bringing here into this tournament. So, first Pokemon here, and I actually have not done this before, so I'm going to find out whether or not how this will actually work in terms of how many weaknesses we're going to actually have. First one we're going to select here, guys, is going to be Mimikyu. So now, Mimikyu is an excellent Pokemon that can actually take a hit without actually taking a hit. And one Pokemon that immediately comes to mind that Mimikyu will be excellent for if we can create an excellent combo for this, as long as it's within the first couple Pokemon, because this is a singles battle, and if you are about to face this Pokemon and it's their last Pokemon, you're going to be in some trouble if you haven't set up like a Stealth Rock or something like that. However, should somebody come out with this Pokemon that you're about to face, and I'm not talking about Mimikyu, it's the Pokemon that is designed to take out, this Pokemon can help destroy Pokemon that are setting up. And this is going to be the red card Mimikyu. Because if you give Mimikyu the red card, and it can immediately take an attack without actually acquiring damage, provided the opponent does not have like Mold Breaker or some type of ability that's going to negate its ability. Therefore, it will not take damage for one, and then secondly, it'll send the Pokemon back to the opponent's party. Now, whenever there's a no holds barred, or whenever we can bring in the older Pokemon, one Pokemon that I'm really thinking is going to be here, guys, is going to be Cloyster. Cloyster, Shell Smash, which is going to have the Icicle Spear, probably the Rock Blast as well. So that's going to be a ton of damage with that Skill Link ability. Always hits the 5 times. Hits that one Shell Smash. I mean, your entire team is pretty much wrecked at that particular point. Now, of course, if you do get a Stealth Rock set up, if you manage to do that on a 3v3, then you might actually be able to get past it, because the Cloyster will have a Focus Sash. Can highly guarantee that that's what you're going to be facing up against. So I really feel as though a Mimikyu with a red card is going to be high niche for this. Now, how you run your Mimikyu may be a little bit different than me. I actually had this random thought to go ahead and bring a full team of Mimikyus, because if I can red card every single one of them, or mix them up here and there, because I have a Mimikyu set, my shiny Mimikyu, And that's the one that has the Will-O-Wisp bulk up, so it's pretty much a physical shut down Pokemon. So if you have somebody that's using like Dragon Dance or something like that, I'll Will-O-Wisp them, and then I'll also start bulking up. Typically, I'll give my Mimikyu leftovers, but for this particular tournament, I'm looking more towards a red card just because I know that there's going to be a lot of other Pokemon setting up. And a 3v3, there's not much chance. So I'm going to have to make sure that that Pokemon gets sent back to their Pokeball and lose that setup. Now, another Pokemon I was, of course, looking into here is, like I already mentioned this one before, that's going to be Tapu Koko. Now, Tapu Koko set up that electric terrain. If we're looking at the possible Darkrai coming out here. Now, Darkrai may have either Focus Sash or it's going to have the Wide Lens, because with that nerf to the Dark Void, it's going to need to improve on its accuracy, unless the person just wants to go ahead and risk it. And with that low defenses, they're probably like, okay, go ahead and give it the Focus Sash. I'll try Dark Void. If I catch, great. If I don't, I'll survive with a Focus Sash and I'll attack again. I'll try it again. So Tapu Koko will shut that down. Tapu Koko is faster. That electric terrain will be on the field, and then any Pokemon that's on the ground will not go to sleep. Now, that is very key here, that the Pokemon must be on the ground. If you send out a Pokemon that is either levitating or a flying Pokemon, even for example, Celesteela, it can be put to sleep if it is sent out despite the electric terrain, because it is not touching the ground. Make sure, you guys, that you are looking into that in terms of how you are going to plan to face against someone else's Darkrai. Next Pokemon that I was looking into here, and I believe I'm going to use this as my Mega Pokemon here, and that's going to be Metagross. I may as well go ahead and select the Mega Metagross here. Let me go ahead and remove that one. Alright, so Mega Metagross. What else do we say about this boy? I mean, this Pokemon is Steel, Psychic, heavy damage. You may be able to run the Bullet Punch if you want, but even without it, my own still actually has the Power Up Punch from the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So I'm loving that move, and I'm going to continue using that move. Or I might change it for Bullet Punch. I'm not 100% sure as of right now, and that's if I truly decide to bring Metagross. But right now, I really do like the idea of bringing Metagross here. Excellent defenses, and while he's a regular Metagross, his stats cannot be lowered either. So that will be an excellent time to probably go ahead and power up before allowing them to power me back down, and then I can hit that Mega Evolution and then just wreck. So maybe a good idea. We'll definitely have to see as time goes on. Another Pokemon here that I'm looking into is going to be, if I can find it right quick. Yeah, you should be right around here somewhere. Where's my little buddy at? I want to go ahead and select Porygon Z. But for some reason, I can't find him. I must be going blind, guys, because I thought Porygon Z was right around here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Alright, so there it is. We got Porygon Z. I was going a little bit blind. So, Porygon Z, if you guys don't know, it's just basically going to give it the Normalium Z, go ahead and teach it the conversion, teach whatever type move you want it to know and what type you want it to become. Z conversion allows Porygon Z to convert its type to that first move slot that's in its move set. So let's say, for example, if your first move that your Porygon Z knows is Shadow Ball, and your Porygon Z is facing off against a fighting type Pokemon. They're about to use a fighting type move against you. Just go ahead, use Z conversion. It will turn into a ghost type because Shadow Ball is a ghost move. And on top of that, all of its stats get boosted one stage. So that is definitely a high incentive to boost your stats and gain some defenses against the opponent of what they're about to use. Now, do not send your Porygon Z out against a Pheromosa and try to do this, because Pheromosa is going to go first and hit you hard. So make sure you do not try to use this move against Pheromosa before it hits you, because you're just going to have a bad day. Just a word of advice, guys. Either get that Pheromosa slowed down first, or just straight up attack it, because you're not going to really have much of another shot to do that. So yeah, that will be my very best recommendation for that. Another Pokemon, which is a risky Pokemon here, and it's exactly what I was mentioning here from before, is going to be Aerodactyl. And here's the reason why I was thinking about Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl will be a Pokemon that will not be able to avoid a Dark Void against Darkrai. It will not, because it is a flying type Pokemon. However, the way how I plan on using my Aerodactyl, if I did choose to bring it, I will definitely go ahead and set up my Stealth Rock. Now, if a Pokemon is going to come out against my Aerodactyl and decide that, oh, it's just your Aerodactyl, I'm going to set up on my first turn, let me go ahead and power up. I can use that Stealth Rock on the first turn, give it maybe even a Focus Sash, and then teach it Roar. So then they hit me hard, and then I can roar them off the stage. Or if my Aerodactyl is going up against a Cloyster, for example, I can let them use that Shell Smash. I go ahead and use the Stealth Rock, then switch out, send out the Mimikyu. They start attacking my Mimikyu. They get sent back to their Pokeball, and then my Mimikyu is full health on the field. Yes, it lost its disguise, but I also have the Stealth Rock up, so when that Cloyster comes back on the field, it will no longer have that ability to use its Focus Sash. So therefore, we can then hit it hard and hit it strong. See? So there's ways of these strategies to make them work together. It's just, I know Aerodactyl is extremely frail, that's why we probably want to go ahead and give it the Focus Sash in that regard, but that's just where we gotta go with that. And like I said, these are not finalized teams. We're just looking at that. Now, in this idea of a mindset for this team, guys, what I'm thinking here, what we'll do is we'll finalize this one with Zygarde. Now, for Zygarde, what we'll do is use it to transform into its complete form. This is where it's very, very risky, because I was looking into the stat distribution of the Zygarde, and whenever it actually becomes its complete form, it actually gets slower. So, of course, the biggest threat to Zygarde will be ice attacks. So I was thinking, everybody's giving it the leftovers most of the time. I'm thinking more along the lines of giving mine the Yache Berry, just so I can resist that ice attack. If I can get that Dragon Dance up and not get put into my complete form, and let's say if I'm going up against a Pheromosa, then I can one-shot the Pheromosa on that next turn. You want to definitely use either Dragon Claw, Thousand Arrows, because that can now also hit the flying types. And if you're going up against Celesteela, because Celesteela is also going to be on there, which is probably going to be one of those stalling sets. So if you go up against Celesteela, Zygarde can bring down a Celesteela, no problem. So definitely different ways that you can actually overcome this here. Now, I was also thinking about the idea of running mine with the substitute, because if I'm about to go up against opponents that's going to, let's say for example, give me with a Prankster Will-O-Wisp or something like that, this will be a way that we can actually not take any damage or not have any of our stats reduced and keep boosting up. So this is just an idea, guys, of how to use these team builders and planners. One other thing I will recommend is if you can also pull up a Pokemon damage calculator by Pokemon Showdown. If you have a Pokemon that you're wondering whether or not it will survive from an attack from a typical set of another Pokemon, or if you want to run some ideas of how your stats are going to run, just come on here to Pokemon Showdown and just put in the Pokemon that you want to use. For example, like me, I was running a Zygarde, and it gives you some options for how people typically use it. But what I will do is I pretty much go for just a blank set, and I'll just start off with the regular Zygarde. And this is also, let me show you how I realized that the other one, the complete form rather, was going to be slower in itself. So let's say if we had two sets, let me make sure that this is in view. Okay, yeah, so this is in view. As you can see, guys, when you have a set where it's 31 IVs across the board, but 0 EVs in all spectrum, the regular 50% form Zygarde is going to have the 226 speed, while the complete form speed actually drops down to 206. So that's a 20-point drop by becoming Zygarde complete. Now, you may think that might not be much when you have a Dragon Dance, but trust me, it can mean the difference between victory and defeat, especially when you're going up against Pokemon like Pheromosa, whose speed actually cross over that 400 threshold. And there's going to be, you know, the Deoxys, who's also has forms where its speed is in the 400s. There's a lot of these high power Pokemon that can actually come into this tournament. We definitely want to watch out for, and I'm going to think about running some of those sets and creating some teams with those as well. But when you let's go ahead and hop back over to the team builder here. What you want to do is, after you create a team, just go ahead and hit that plus sign, and you can see how many weaknesses that you actually have, and it tells you how many. If you have, like, I have one rock weakness on this team, and that will be Aerodactyl. I have 2 Pokemon that are weak to ice. Now that will be, of course, Aerodactyl again and Zygarde, but Zygarde with the Yache Berry is going to definitely help reduce that. We have 2 Pokemon weak to steel. Now that will be Aerodactyl again, because Aerodactyl has a bunch of weaknesses, and that will also be with Mimikyu. 2 Pokemon weak to ghost, that will be our Metagross and Mimikyu as well. And then we also have 2 Pokemon weak to ground. Now that will be Tapu Koko and Metagross. Now, with our Tapu Koko, what I'm thinking about doing is actually using my shiny Tapu Koko that I actually got to have Hidden Power Fire, because there's also another Pokemon out there, guys. I know this is a lot of Pokemon that you're thinking about going up against, but another counter that we're going to have to deal with, or a wall basically, is going to be Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is going to be a big Pokemon that we're going to have to break down in order to get to a further step. So Tapu Koko with the Hidden Power Fire will definitely be able to two-shot the Ferrothorn. Yes, it may actually get a Stealth Rock up, but at the same time, it is what it is. Then Tapu Koko can continue to run high damage if they switch out. I don't think anybody's going to use like a Gastrodon, but they might bring like Quagsire, possibly. Not 100% sure there, but you can easily teach your Tapu Koko Grass Knot, which with its high special attack, I mean, he can actually pretty much one-shot those. So you'll be good to go with that. So definitely some ideas with that. Some other Pokemon that I've been thinking about. Let's see if I can come up with a few real quick here. Oh, can't believe I was about to forget this one Pokemon. And let's see, who will I take off if that was the case? Let's see what happens here. If I was to go ahead and remove Aerodactyl, which is big risky move because that is the stealth rock there. But if we were to switch that up and go for Buzzwole. Buzzwole is going to be a big Pokemon. Now, as you can see, guys, we actually now became 2 weaknesses to fire. That will be Metagross and Buzzwole. Buzzwole, it also has a weakness to flying, and he will be my only Pokemon that has weaknesses to flying. He also has a weakness to Fairy, which brings us to 2 weaknesses to Fairy along with Zygarde. Now, having that said, guys, Buzzwole itself is a highly physically defensive Pokemon, has a lot of HP, so your best bet to try to take this one down is going to be special attacks, but it still tanks it up. And this Pokemon is a very dangerous Pokemon. With that Leech Life attack, with that 80 base power and stab, that Pokemon can gain health back on you. So definitely want to watch out for that. Can be run with Trick Room sets, maybe, or it can even be run just straight up Tailwind sets. Tailwind can be scary. Another thing that I've been thinking about, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys, but if you are by any chance struggling with going up against Tailwinders or Trick Rooms, it's the 3 to 5 turns depending on which one you're going up against. Know how to stall out the turns. You want to make sure you have the Protect on your Pokemon. You want to make sure you can switch out. You want to use moves that actually use more than 1 turn that also holds the other Pokemon in play or prevents them from doing anything. I know none of us typically use Dig because we can get hurt by Earthquake while we're using Dig. Definitely understand, but we definitely want to do things that like Skydrop. We used that in the previous tournament. Whenever they were using up the Trick Room, we can actually use Skydrop, bring them in the air, then bring them back down on the next turn. That's 2 turns out of their 5 right there. Then on the next turn, you can just use Protect. So that's your 3rd turn, and then Skydrop the next turn if you can survive and hold on. So these are ways that you can actually make them waste pretty much their Trick Rooms or Tailwinds. So I know that's a lot of information, but definitely let me know you all's feedback on what you all plan to do, what kind of team sets y'all may want us to do for this tournament itself, because it's more like a fun tournament itself. It's not going to be me really trying extensively hard on this one, just because it's just 50 battle points and it's just a all no holds barred to a degree type of tournament. So let me know what you guys think in terms of this here. Let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to set a like goal just because that's the thing to do here. But since we're just starting off, let's just go ahead and aim for 5 likes. Just 5 likes on here. Let's go ahead and try to smash that out of the way, and then just continue to build up on what we can do here on this channel itself. But that's where we're going to end it here, guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to just leave it in the chat. Let's go ahead and just start some dialogue here. What do you all think about this tournament? What do you all plan to bring? And if you want to do some theme teams or anything like that, or have some practice battles, let's go ahead and make sure we set that up in advance so that way we can actually get that underway. All right, so until then, guys, this is going to be the Raikaze signing off. Stay strong and power on.